This is Chris Olkowski, and I'm be talking about living with a person that has pornography and or sexual immorality in their life, and so you're living with a spouse or you have a friend, close friend, um, or family member, and how to deal with that. Okay, especially if you're involved with this person greatly. And I'm going to talk about 4 steps that help you get freedom and hearing from the Lord in it and to be godly in it because it can be really a challenge. Okay, because it is so in depth. Okay, um, you're talking about spiritual bonds, not just physical. Okay, anything that's sexual is also has the spiritual involved. That's what God said because there's like a bonding that goes on. So the first step is pornography and sexual immorality has little to do with the current relationships. Okay, that's really important to get in mind, and it's probably the hardest part. It's probably the first step. This is the first step is probably the hardest um, in this situation because of the fact that it feels like the hurt is so real, and it is. I mean, definitely, um, any sexual immorality in a marriage or relationship or anything that's um, you're involved with and you're seeing it, um, you want to blame yourself. You want to feel like you're the at fault or you should be able to do something about it. You have very little to do with it. Sad to say, um, in that way um, you feel, and you're getting hurt by it, especially if you're the spouse, and so you feel, like you want to be involved, and but it's very important to know. Just at least you can just start that way is to know that you have little to do with it. Okay. The second part is go to the Lord to help you forgive the sexual immoral person and to separate yourself from the sin. Okay. Why that's really important is because the sin is wanting to suck you in and be a part of that. That's like any kind of sin or any kind of addiction. It lashes out, tries to affect the other person. Okay, and so what the real part here is ask God to help you in this area. Help you forgive that person and forgive the whole sin thing because it's not just them that's involved here. They're being tied to other people. They're being tied to the pornography. All this stuff is going on in their lives, and you don't want to be even part of that. Okay, so ask God for healing, His pureness to cover you, so that anything that's going on with them is not that God can um, block that. Okay, can cover it because His love covers a multitude of sin, meaning that no matter what goes on in another person's life, it does not have to affect you in a way that it has. In a sense that God's love can cover it, and you don't have to be as affected as much as you feel like you should be, because it is really hurtful, very painful, and so that's why God's love can be so strong, and you need to reach out so deeply in that so deeply so that you can just be full of his love, full of his peace, and know that you're so special. You're cared for. He's working on the person's life no matter what happens. I mean, even if they end up getting a divorce and leave you and stuff, that is not something you have to be concerned about because God has a plan for your life. He has a plan for you specifically, no matter what that person decides or does. Okay? That's really important to keep in mind because we can feel like, overwhelmed and Satan will attack you in that area because he knows that's going to affect you. And he's going to say, what are you going to do without him? What are you going to do without her? I mean, what's going to happen this? What's going to happen that? Do they love you anymore? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, how am I going to be able to cope? How am I going to be able to even function? God has the answers to all that because He has a plan. He has a direction for your life, and He knows what's best for you each day. That's why you go to Him every moment, every day, and know that God will take care of you. And just go for the direction for the day, and that'll help. Okay, so you forgive the person, but then you separate from the sin. So you forgive them, release them to God, and say, okay, that's their problem, that's their situation. Okay, you first have to separate. Okay, then ask God for His healing and direction. Okay, so let Him heal you. Separate. Ask the Lord to forgive them. Separate, and then God getting His love, His healing, and from His heart because you're going to be hurt. You're going to be hurt, but just getting His love and pouring into Him because that's what he desires anyway, no matter what. Is that, and when we're hurt, even especially with something that's hurt as bad as this, he wants to fill you that much more because his grace is sufficient, meaning he can supply and he desires to supply all that you need in the midst of all that. And it's so can be so gratifying to know that he will do that, and he's in his doing that if we allow it to him. Sometimes are so frustrated by the situation we don't even want God because we feel so hurt, we feel so betrayed, and we say, "Well, why would God even allow this? Why do I have to even deal with this? I'm hurt so bad." It's like it's not it's not because of the fact that you're not special. It's not because of the fact you deserve it. It's not because of the fact that you need to do something about it. The hurt is only something that allows us, the hurt, to think of it this way, the hurt allows us to go to God. Okay? I know it sounds weird because we're like, how we're so programmed to think that hurt is a bad thing and we have to fix it. We have to change it. Something has to happen. No. Hurt and pain and frustration and the trials of this earth allows us to go to the Lord. And then Paul says, in my weakness, in my hurt, in my pain, my frustrations, God is strong. Okay? So his strength is stronger, or as strong, at least as strong, probably stronger, I would say stronger than our weakness. The pain you feel is this big, and he wants to love you this much to cover it. It's only like a little band-aid. It's not that. It's a whole covering. Covers everything. All surrounds you with his love. Okay? Just realize that and believe it because it is true for one, but he rewards those who trust him and believe in him. And that that experience will happen if you just trust that and say, God, I know that you cover me all this. Your love covers a multitude of sin. So I just got to help me to trust you. Help me to know that you're taking care of me, that I'm special, that I'm full of you, and that you got a plan for my life. You have everything taken care of. You continue to take care of me amidst of anything that happens. And that's very freeing because it allows us to trust more, allows us to be feeling more loved and more cared for. And that's the whole plan of being a Christian and being on this earth is to go to Christ and have comfort by him. Okay? So we get healing from him and then direction. Okay, and that leads into the fourth step. Bring accountability into the relationship and boundaries. Okay? So asking God, where should we go for this? You might need counseling, as a married couple, or you might, counseling for how to deal with this friend or this relative or whatever family member, or talking to the family member. Maybe you need a family therapy together, to cope with what's just went on. Okay, or there's multiple different directions we can go. You can go with counseling, or going to pastors or godly people in your life. A good support system with um, godly people, and just really getting their input and their direction and their support and their prayers and everything that goes along with being having a fellowship with people, with other strong Christians, and definitely having people that can speak in your life that have the Holy Spirit, that are hearing from God, so they can enter your life and touch you in a specific way, and they can bring that accountability because you're gonna need that because that person is gonna have problems, and you're gonna get all emotional. You're gonna need direction, and you need somebody to pull you into the Lord. If that person isn't, you know, so you just need all that support and that direction and accountability, so then you can give them accountability, and hopefully they're gonna go to the Lord. They're gonna seek the Lord, and they're gonna be freed up. I mean, I shared my video yesterday about the fact that pornography and sexual immorality, they need healing. Okay, and I talk about that in that video. And so hopefully that's will be part of the accountability, is that they will be accountable to you. And there's different things you can do for pornography. There's things you can do that like for instance, let's say that the sexual immorality comes from people from work or friendships, that okay, I'm not going to spend time with the opposite sex, or I'm not going to be in contact with certain people or whatever it is. That's accountability. Or I'm not going to spend a lot of time in certain situations. I'm not going to go to the bar or whatever's. I'm not going to go to the. Sometimes it's some things. Sometimes people. Business trips. Okay, well I'm gonna be creative, and God can be very creative. It's like, well, on my business trips, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be videotaping myself a lot, keeping myself accountable. Okay, I'm here. This is this at this time. Show your watch and stuff. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go with this, but the accountability is so important because it allows you then to not get tempted for one into this thing, but then you need a healing, and that's where God God's gonna have to be involved. Okay, if you try to do this without God, it's not gonna work, and that's why you can suggest all these things, but if that person isn't willing to really delve into the Lord about this, it's not going to work, and you're going to just have to realize that you're going to have to go to the Lord and seek direction for yourself because, and sometimes it means separation. Sometimes it means you're going to have to say, okay, you're not getting help, you're not following God, you're not seeking the Lord in this. Maybe we need to separate. And then it can be that serious, and it sometimes wakes people up. I mean, um, we know some of the people that they were in addiction, and they said we're going to separate, and that person got out of the addiction because they were that freaked out about separation. Sometimes that's needed because of the fact that you got to see how serious this is. This is very serious. This sexual immorality is so important to see the seriousness of it, but also the damage it does, and just all that's involved in it, how deep this sin can be and stuff. And so dealing with it and getting help and support and seeking the Lord together and pushing through. I mean, God can do miracles in so many ways in this area that if it's done in the Lord though, and like I said, it had a different video, but this is your part. Your part is not to change the person. Your part is to get separate from the situation and get freed up for the Lord, and then to, get His healing and then direction. You get direction when you're all whole and all peace, so that you can speak into that person's life, and you can get direction for both of you, and you can hear from God in it all, and then you make sure there's accountability and make sure there's boundaries. Okay, so that's the 4 steps. And if you need help, me and Kristen can definitely me and my wife can help you in this area, and we can really talk in your life, and just leave a comment below if you're needing help, or in our my Facebook on Messenger. I'll be posting this video, but also be talking live about it quick about these 4 steps. And just leave us a message on our Messenger, and we'll get in contact with you. So, okay, God bless.